if you're going to be really good at this, know what you're buying, know the marketplace. You have to learn the market. What's the difference between an amateur and a professional? And, are you going to be an amateur in this and dabble in it, or are you going to be a professional and learn the business?
This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Sam Rust. Joining us today is Craig Coppola, who's the founding principal of Lee & Associates, Arizona, the CEO of CRE OneSource, and a longtime real estate investor and author of 5 books. 3 of his books are on commercial real estate, where Craig shares his lessons after living in the commercial real estate world for almost 40 years. Craig, thanks for lending some wisdom and gray hair to the podcast today. Thanks for joining.
I know. I'm feeling old today. You're a young man, and it's a young man's game. I'm excited to still be in it, though.
It's interesting times. This is, some would say, our first real cycle, or my first real cycle. I'm not sure that COVID really counted. It was such a small blip on the radar screen. But you've been in for nearly 40 years. Favorite lesson that you learned through longevity?
This is 3 recessions, Sam. You have to look forward to this if you stay in our commercial real estate sector for the next 40 years. That's what happens. Quite frankly, on the funny side, it is funny, but our business is a crazy one. And I've met with 4 people who are millennials in your age group in the last 2 weeks that have been in the business since 2009 and 10, and they're freaked out. They have no idea what's going on because the deals they've been underwriting and doing are now not working. And so you can do really well in our business. You can make, let's say you make 9 great deals. The 10th deal can take you down because you keep growing the investment amounts that you do. Most people start out at a small amount and over time start putting bigger and bigger dollar amounts into it. And so you have to really watch yourself, especially now as the market gets a little tricky, to have a plan and make sure that you stick to the plan and not go all in on some funky deal,
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, Greg. You said essentially the deals that we've been doing for the last 5 years aren't working anymore. We're definitely seeing that. We do a lot of value add multifamily, and for a long time, it was, can you find capital or equity for your deals? And then over the last 18 months, that's really changed. And then in the last 6 months, it's been more about, cap rates rising a little bit. Debt's been a lot harder to come by. The cycle has certainly shifted. How long do you stick with the plan? If specifically, here's the business plan for investing in multifamily versus reevaluating market conditions and looking for adjacent opportunities?
Well, the plan, if you say I have a plan, the plan isn't, you don't stick to any plan. The plan is we evaluate every transaction all the time, whether we own it or whether we, are going to acquire it and what segments we're in. There is no set and forget at all in commercial real estate. I remember at the beginning of COVID, I thought, wow, great opportunity. Industrial real estate is going to take a dump. And I put together a fund of $25 million of my pals, and it went exactly opposite. So the plan was to go invest in industrial real estate, and I didn't put a dime out. And so we're now looking at, kind of like I went to them and I said, that's not going anywhere. You have to really be flexible, and you have to test your own hypotheses all the time. What you thought was true yesterday. I got off the phone literally 3 minutes ago with a client, and we have a full price offer on a property. This is a lease deal, but a full price offer. And, last week the market was, a bump in rent every 5 years. And my client said, not doing it. I said, well, let's do 2% increases annually. He says, inflation's 10, I'm getting hammered. So I've got him convinced the CPI or 3% annual increases to try and help make the deal. But that's literally a live change happening in the marketplace today. I'm negotiating on a purchase on a bill. I was telling you before that we just got a deal. I was looking at it 30 days ago at $9.6 million. Today, I made an offer at $8 million. And I think I'm going to get it at $8 million. And so that's literally 30 days. What's happened in the change in the marketplace is repricing is occurring, and you have to move. So your plan has to be flexible.
Yeah, flexibility, and something that we try to build in is also optionality, especially as we've gone a little bit more towards development, doing a lot of kind of the build to rent style community where if you need to, you can sell it off in individual lots. or rent it as an entire product.
I love the
like that.
optionality. I love it. And one of the challenges you said, here's what we're missing, but I think one of the things you missed was costs. I mean, if you're building now, you have to plan in 6 to 7 to 8 months additional time to actually get to C of O, and you have to increase your bid price 25%. I own part of a construction company, and I can tell you that we've just been wrecking in California, and it's been incredibly difficult because everybody wants a gross maximum price. Nobody's going to give it to you. They've got a 10% contingency now where it used to be 3%, and costs are going up 25% a year. It's insane. So you have to really look at this. And if you're developing stuff that's going to take 24 to 36 months, what's the market going to look like that? There's a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace right now.
Yeah. Take us back to the beginning, Craig. You played baseball in college. You were drafted by the Twins. But then, at least as I was looking through your LinkedIn profile, you went straight into commercial real estate and stuck ever since. Was there family heritage? What intrigued you about commercial real estate?
Great question. I got released by the Twins after a season in Major League Baseball, minor league baseball. I've rethought this, but I've been telling the story for 30 years. I'll tell it one more time. There was this guy in the Twins organization. He had married into the family and he had never played. He was a big man, 300-pound guy, and he was the minor league director. And so they had a saying when George Brophy, his name's George Brophy, when he came to town, he had never left alone. He would release somebody because he had this ego, even though he never played. And I swore at that time I would never be beholden to somebody else. And so I got into commercial real estate right away because I wanted to be a commission sales guy. I haven't had a paycheck since 1983, not one single paycheck. And the reason is I want to bet on myself. That's why your listeners are listening. Look, we're syndicating real estate so we can bet on ourselves. And we're in the real estate business to do what we think is the right thing. And I can tell you, I've lost money for people, and I've been acquiring on my own account without any syndication for the last 4 or 5 years. And it's way easier to lose my own money than it is to lose other people's money if you're, an honorable guy.
Yeah.
So I got into real estate and I never left, and I love it. It's been the joy of my life at 38 years. I've been a commercial real estate broker and buyer. And it's certainly, and I see the next 30 years being the same. As long as you're in growth markets, I really love it. In fact, even if you're not, there's opportunities. We've been looking outside of Indianapolis, which is a slow growth market, and you can buy homes for $30,000 and rent them out for $1,000 a month. It's like, wait, $12,000 on a $30,000 investment or it's like crazy.
Wow. Yeah. The 2% rule that became the 1% rule that became the 0.5% rule, right? All in the span of 36 months. It's pretty amazing how fast that compressed across the country.
Yes.
So you mentioned betting on yourself. I wonder if maybe you could share a favorite story of yours where that bet totally paid off. What's one of your favorite projects that you could share with our audience?
So this is public. So Robert tells us, I was telling you that I'm Robert and Kim Kiyosaki are investors and co-investors with me on deals. The best deal they've ever done is the deal that I did, is the deal I bet on myself. I had tied up a property. This is now 19 years ago. I tied up a property. I didn't have the money to close it. I knew Robert and Kim. I'd done some deals, but I tied up this property in Phoenix, Arizona. And I went to them and I said, I really like this deal. I really like the location. And Kim and Robert came back and said, we want to own it. And I said, well, I own it. And I want to be in it. And so I just don't have enough money to close it. So Robert says to me, he says, I will buy the property, 100% investment of my money, and I'll give you 10% after I get my money back. It's money in 10%. And I said, okay. So I own 10% of this property, no money out of my pocket. I got a commission on the deal. And we've owned it. It had a 15-year triple net lease. It had annual increases. After 15 years, the tenant vacated, and we did a 99-year unsubordinated ground lease, and they're just finished. We got our first payment last month, and we're going to get 99-year unsubordinated ground lease. They put a 5-story senior living property on it. The property's now worth, I think they have $130 million in equity and another $80 million in debt on it. So, and we're in first place over that. So we're getting, 7-figure annual rent. I get 10% of it. They get 90% for the next 99 years. And so that's just the home run deal. I mean, I wish I could do more of those, but it was all because I bet on myself, right? It's back to your original point is I tied it up. I knew it. I believed in it. Nobody else did at the time. And I convinced them and they bought into the vision. And here we are 20 years later. And every time they see me, it's like, and anytime Robert speaks, he'll say it's the best deal he's ever done. It's the returns are insane.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
A lot of moving parts there. What was the property originally?
It was a fitness center, 40,000 foot Q Club, which became LA Fitness over the years.
Wow.
Yeah. I wish I had 5 of those,
Don't we all? Don't we all?
But the point of it, that is, to your point, is exactly what you're doing, right? If you do your homework, you can pick up good clients. If you pick up good clients and you buy exceptional properties, you have to take risk on it. And like this property, they're probably going to be my partner in it. It's like, I was talking to them. They were interested at 9.6 million. And I'm like, okay, now we got the deal. It's $1.6 million less. And, we just have to move quick on it. And I think that makes the deal what I call exceptional deal. Bill Lee told me, look, there are 4 kinds of deals. And Bill Lee was the founder of our company. He passed away last year and was really one of my, like a second father, certainly a mentor for the last 30 years. He said, there's 4 kinds of properties. There's, there's on-market property, off-market property, good properties, and exceptional properties. He says, we're in the business of buying exceptional properties. And that's what we should be buying. If you think it's just an okay deal. And I've had to tell the guy, he's in our own office that's bringing me the deal. I said, this is not exceptional. It's okay. And so he said, what would make an exceptional? I said, 8 million. He said, let me go sell it. And he is, because the market's changing.
Yeah, as environments change, really important to keep that standard high. And I see a lot of folks that right now are just focused on doing deals for the deal's sake. And they're, maybe not even intentionally lowering their standards. That's how you get into trouble, right? That's how you find the 1 deal out of 10 that ends up sinking you because your snowball can't turn over that one more time.
I did it. I used to travel with Robert and speak with his advisor group. And after one of the talks, I don't know, there's a couple thousand people in the audience. And this guy came up to me and he says, I've bought, fixed, and flipped 230 homes, and I've made a total of $300,000.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, dude, you're in the wrong business. The amount of risk that you're taking. He's like, I know, I need to get out of it. I go, I love your tenacity, but you're not pricing these right. Do less deals, price better. And one of the challenges we have in our business, one of the challenges for young folks like you is patience. I have been acquired commercial. Well, that's not true. Okay. So I haven't acquired on my own account commercial real estate for the last 36 months. I've been just waiting. I have been investing as a limited, but I haven't acquired anything on my own account. And that's because for my own account, I'm looking for exceptional. I'm not looking for, 5 cap and get 3% on my money. I can do that any other place. I got to get double-digit returns and feel good about it and feel really good about the upside of the property.
Yeah, well, that makes a ton of sense. One of the questions that we ask guests in our podcast before they come on board so that I can get a little bit of insight onto what might make a good interview is, what's your unique ability that will bring value to our listeners? And your response it intrigued me. You put in there, I see around corners, I lead from the front, I connect the dots. So I've got to riff on that for a minute. We've got to park there. When you look to the future, where do you see the opportunity? Because you're kind of a generalist. You've done a lot in commercial real estate, from true commercial, you've chased industrial, some multifamily, all over the place. What excites you now? And it could be regional, it could be product type. What gets you out of bed and excited in the morning?
Yeah. So I don't invest outside my own market unless it's somebody that I've done business with and I trust. So a lot of people are buying all over the country, flying and looking at deals. I've never figured out that. And I wrote a book called How to Win in Commercial Real Estate. And one of the things I say is look, if you're going to be really good at this, know what you're buying, know the marketplace. You have to learn the market. And when I say learn the market, these syndication deals where guys, I got a deal I'm looking at in Miami. Well, have you seen it? No, somebody sent it to me. That, to me, I can't figure that out. I know my marketplace. Now, I also have people like in Southern California industrial. I have 2 guys I've been investing with for the last decade, and I invest side by side with them, and they kick ass, right? I have a guy that does multifamily in Miami, or in Dade County, in Florida, which I would never invest in, but I've known him 30 years, so I invest with him. And so I do that because I invest with people who I trust side by side or myself. So I would say learn. And so how do I see around the corners? I see around the corners because I watch exactly what I was telling you today. When a client tells me the inflation's going, we have to change rents going up, it's like, okay, I immediately have now said to myself, every deal I buy has to have, every lease has to have annual increases in it, or I'm out of the game. If they don't, now I may not get 10% what inflation is, but if I have somebody real-time market information telling me that, then I'm doing that. And so when I see around corners, it's like spending the time. Look, I've written, I have a blog called Lifeys, LIFEIES.com, Lifeys.com. I've been writing weekly for the last, 9 or 10 years. Pretty big following, 30, 40,000 people a week. But one of the ones I wrote is, what's the difference between an amateur and a professional? And, are you going to be an amateur in this and dabble in it, or are you going to be a professional and learn the business? And so that's one of the reasons why people invest with me, because I'm all in. 38 years, 70 hours a week. This is what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. What fuels you to put that amount of time in, to that level of consistency? I mean, you've been with Lee and Associates since 1991. You're embedded into the culture, I would imagine, of Phoenix commercial real estate. I would imagine everybody knows who you are.
Yeah, I won this award, which is, they call it Lifetime Achievers. It's basically the Commercial Hall of Fame for Metro Arizona, or for Arizona. And my number one thing is I'm relentless, right? I always view, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. And I always look back to my Minnesota roots and go, I didn't want George Brophy to release me in my real estate career. And you know what? He didn't, right? So I look back, and so what fuels me is I now in growing young people, we have people who come to us because of my reputation. We just had a young kid start with us. He's 28 years old. And he started this week, and he moved from LA to come and work for our team. Why? Because he's going to get an MBA in commercial real estate over the next 24, 36 months as he works for us.
That's fantastic. Best training you could ask for.
You got to have somebody, Unless if you have family money, you can afford to lose it, great, but most of us don't. And so you've got to really find a mentor. In our business, finding the right person to learn from is powerful.
So you said earlier, talking about this transaction where you had to get the seller to accept $1.5 million price cut, that turned it into an extraordinary deal, that time is the killer. So you guys are moving swiftly. You're the CEO of CRE OneSource, which is really all about reducing the time that it takes to walk through a commercial real estate transaction. How did that come about? You've been the CEO for a little over a year. It's definitely adjacent to what you've been doing, but it's also somewhat of a unique opportunity. Tell the story a little bit about CRE OneSource.
You were talking about what fuels you. I had been writing down because, I just turned 61 last week, and I'm on the end of my career, and I have plenty of money, and I thought, I've been writing down, what's my next act? What am I going to do? And I've been, in the philanthropy. Most people my age would go into philanthropy and do that. And I have a 30-year philanthropy resume that I would stack up against anybody. And so I've been writing one more shot at it. I never left brokerage, right? And I've been really under the cover because of acquiring real estate. Clients get a little touchy. So I've been under the cover about how much real estate I've acquired and amassed. And so I don't want clients thinking I'm out competing with them. And so I had this opportunity. I had been a small investor in this company called CRE Simple, and there was a divorce bankruptcy of the company. And I actually acquired the assets out of bankruptcy. I just bought it. And I bought it because I looked at how we had done transactions over the last 25 years. Nothing had changed. The biggest change in how we handle commercial real estate transactions in the last 37 years since I've been a broker has been the advent of email. Before, email, it was phone calls, and then you had the regular mail, then you had FedEx come into business, and then emails allowed it to go faster. We have not changed since email, and email's been around 25 years. And so people are doing transactions the same way, and there is technology that allows you to do things way better now, and we have it, OneSource, CRE OneSource, and we have it. And so we have this software, and so I acquired it. Our team is on it. They're kicking ass. We've become way more effective. way more efficient. We save a bunch of time. We like to say we give you 25% of your week back if you're in the business of transactions every day. But it also does other things, not just saving time. It's a encrypted SOC 2 compliance, securitized format that allows multiple people, because, in any transaction you have, Sam, 10, 12 people are involved in it. So we have permissions, but people get in, they're all open email boxes. So your team all can see it. They don't have to call Sam, hey, where's that email? Or, your assistant or whatever's going on. And so it's pretty cool. We're really excited about it. It is a whole new ball. Running a tech company and building a tech team is a whole different ballgame than buying commercial real estate. I'm in a huge growth mode.
Yeah.
Personally.
So I love that you touched on what's my next act, what's my goal. What is the goal for CRE OneSource?
A lot of people want to be a marketplace. We want all real estate transaction practitioners, whether you're a broker, a buyer, a direct lender, a mortgage broker, a bank. We have a bank, a title company. We have a title company. Anybody who's handling transactions, we want them to be more effective. I just opened an escrow at Lean Associates, and it was like on the escrow, on the email, like, look, here's your opening letter. And there was 25 people involved. I mean, it's like nobody's talking to anybody. There's 5 attorneys involved in it. It's like, this is the craziest thing. No one knows what's going on. And so our system, we think we can do it. And then what comes out of that, Sam, is the analytic piece of it is crazy. How much time it takes you to do transactions, where are your bottlenecks internally in the organization. Those are the things that are on our roadmap. But right now, we're just making people more effective.
Yeah. Who can drive the ship in that regard? It's because when you're buying a piece of real estate, there's a lot of different parties involved. You've got your lender, your buyer, your seller, usually 2 sets of counsel plus a title company, and that's just to get things started. We're typically buying right now. So that's usually where we fit in. If we're using a platform like this, are people resistant to getting on board? Because it really works if everybody's using it, right? It's maybe not, is it as effective if not everybody in the chain of that individual transaction is on board?
Yeah, it's not as effective when everybody's on board. And when we acquired it, it didn't have the features. We literally launched this feature because, to your point, great insight, Sam. I can tell you're in the business. We thought everybody would just sign in. So it's, you get invited. You don't have to sign up. So if I did a deal with you and you were part of the deal, it would send you an email and you sign up your name, your email, and a password. Boom, you're in. And then you get permissions to whatever you do. So we just thought people would do that. It's like literally a 90-second sign up. But because the world doesn't do what Craig wants it to do, we're like, I'm not signing up for that. So we just created every deal has a unique email. And so you just carbon copy this email and you can reply back to me. Don't go into my system, but it goes right into our OneSource platform. Every deal has its own deal room. It goes right into it. So we've solved the problem. If you don't want to join us, great. Just copy this email and it'll go right into your system. And you can still be super organized. And you're going to be great. And you're going to have all the documents in one place. And you're going to know exactly where to do it. The email gets separated. If there's an attachment, the email and the attachment are separated. It's really cool.
Oh,
it's really cool. Saves you a ton of time. It keeps you way organized. But if there's some old guy out there like me going, just email you, just put the CC on it. And if he doesn't, then you just put the CC on yourself and you send it to yourself and it's in the email. So we've had to work around the lagging indicators, commercial real estate in fintech.
Yeah, because you've got the young generation like myself that we're all about leveraging technology. We want to go further using less human resources, but there's a lot of folks that are more in your generation that haven't seen the light. They want to do it the way they've always done it. And unfortunately, the way they've always done it is by these huge email chains, seemingly never end, and have everybody and their mother be CC'd or CC'd.
Yeah, somebody replies, got it, reply all. And then the next guy got it. And you get 15 emails like that. So, it is, and to your point, look, we had a little campaign we were running. Like, hey, how about a personal assistant for $130 a month? Because our system it's $130 a month for a seat. And then somebody emails, how can I hire somebody for $130 a month? I'm like, it's our system, dummy. And they thought they literally could hire somebody. Like I have 3 full-time assistants, but one of them is in the Philippines. And, but even those are expensive, $130 a month. So we do get pushback. People going, that's $130 a month. I'm going, what's your time worth? I'm going to give you two to 4 hours a week, every single week. That's 8 hours a month minimum on any transaction you do. You're telling me your hourly wage is not $15 an hour? How much do you value that? And that is really, I've got our young guys out there and we're selling, and I'm like, call them out and say, you don't value your time. Oh no, this is expensive. I'm like, what's your time worth?
Yeah. I mean, you have to do that calculation and realize that, for most people who are running a real estate transaction from a buyer or seller side, which is probably who you're selling to, or brokers, you're making probably $250,000 a year if you've been doing it at any length of time. And that's probably on the low side. Your hourly rate is easily $500. And if you can save 1 hour a month, it's worth it.
And we looked at it on our team, the email feature is saving us, our team, 15 hours a week. Because we get all these emails and we have to file. Our team we're running 162 transactions on our brokerage team right now. We're doing a deal every 3 days. And so we're having all these files, right? That we have 162 files in 5 different people's emails, just so we have a bigger team. So people go, wait. So that's your team. You're busy. You're crank. I get it. But just on our team alone, at 15 hours a week, on you may be doing 1 deal a month. It doesn't matter. It's like, it's in the same spot. We know where it is. It's organized. It's like, it's $130 personal assistant that you don't go, hey, my assistant's name's Chelsea. Hey, Chelsea, where's that file? How many times do you say that? 1,000 times. Anyway, I'm pretty stoked about it. It's a really cool software. We've just launched the email thing. We just launched this really cool people analytics. And we're calling, to your point, Sam, it's called return on value. It's like not just your time. It's not return on time, not ROI, but it's return on the value that you get. So,
yeah. Well, Craig, we could talk for hours. I've really enjoyed this, but as we get ready to wrap up here, how do you like to give back to the community or to folks that work with you?
Yeah, so I've been on a minimum of 5 nonprofit boards for 30 years. I'm cutting back now as I get older, so I'm on 2 right now. In the nonprofit side, I'll tell you what really turns me on today is building teams of young people and setting them free. I was telling you about this gentleman who moved from LA. On our OneSource team, we have 11 full-time people now. 3 of them have just come out of college, so we're building these. So I view this idea of giving back and building, one of my goals is to, have a large number of multimillionaires that I have kind of mentored and grown. And I've been doing that over some time. And it gives me great joy to see these folks kind of buy in, commit, and then grow their business over time. And so that's my biggest joy right now, is doing that.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. Well, Craig, again, thankful for you coming by and sharing some knowledge on the show. If folks want to learn more about what you're doing over at OneSource, how can they reach out and get in touch and maybe get a demo?
Yeah, I'm all over the internet. Obviously, Coppola, Coppola. It's our Craig Coppola. There's a few others out there. Some guy did a few movies, but CRE OneSource, and you can contact us on it. I brought my son. I have a son who's 28 years old. He's our COO. So Charlie and I are running the company together. And so if you just go on CRE1source.com, and then you can contact us through that, and we're happy to set up a 20-minute demo or do whatever it is. It's pretty exciting software.
Yeah. And for folks who want to check out, probably the book that Craig is best well known for is How to Win in Commercial Real Estate Investing. Find, evaluate, and purchase your first commercial property in 9 weeks or less. That's available on Amazon. We'll throw a link to that in the show notes as well.
Thanks, Sam, for having me. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Thank you to our listeners for joining us. This is your host, Sam Rust, signing off.
Thank you for being with us again today. I hope you have liked and subscribed to the show. Please tell your friends about the Real Estate Syndication Show, and I hope that you are learning and growing. Don't forget to go to lifebridgecapital.com where you can start investing today.